starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Bass in your face. Bass in your face.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for all of those of you who are watching this for the first time, excuse me, the reason why it's called Uncommon Sense is because here we talk about everyday issues where we try to find logical solutions, but not everyone uses logic. So for that reason, it is called Uncommon Sense. I want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch, and the subscriber flow has been enabled for the first 5 minutes, meaning if you're not a subscriber, you have to subscribe and be a subscriber for at least 5 minutes before you can comment. And speak about comments, we already have a comment in the chat. Good evening, Dynamando. Thank you very much for stopping by. Now, as always, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who have already subscribed to the channel, whether you've been a supporter from the very beginning or just recently joined. I really appreciate all the love and warmth and support that you give me. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media, particularly Instagram and TikTok. Your continued support really warms my heart. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who allow me to enter into your devices, and all those who watch from the clouds. So therefore, if you have not done so, what I'm going to ask you to do is please subscribe, like, and set the bell notification to all. So therefore, whenever I do produce content, you have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. Now, also in the description, I placed the link to my other channel, which is known as Latina Diaspora, okay? And what we do there is we talk about issues pertaining to Latinos born and raised in the United States. I will be doing a stream about tomorrow night on my other channel at, I believe, 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, the same rules that govern this platform also govern the other platform as well. Before we get into tonight's topic is what we learned from COVID-19. The fact of the matter is we've all been affected by this pandemic / epidemic / health crisis / whatever the morphing to down. Okay, we have dealt with many changes, a lot of it negative. And of course, unfortunately, many of us known loved ones that passed away due to COVID-19. So I'll be talking about what we have learned or unlearned, so to speak. Before we get into the topic, we're going to have another issue of In My Words. Now, this week I started my march for 400. So basically, I set myself a goal by the end of June to reach 400 subs. I'm slowly growing. Thank you for all those who have supported me. Okay. And I see we also have another comment. That is very true. Okay. Especially in light of the recent passing of my nephew. Okay. So basically, as I stated, the goal is 400 by the end of June. So it basically breaks down to like 16 a month in April, 16 in May, and 16 in June. I am at 354, so I'm 46 subs away from my goal. Of course, I want to reach at least 1,000 subs and get the number of hours needed so I can be monetized. Okay. Not that I'm depending on YouTube for income because, fortunately for me, I have a job. Okay. Now, of course, everyone knows that, well, many people know that I use a share ride service for people who are either disabled or are unable to use the public transportation. And of course, I've had my trauma with them. It seems like they're either too early, too late, or they don't come at all. Uh, Earlier this week, I have on two separate occasions I dealt with drivers that only spoke Chinese, so I have to use a Google Translate in order to communicate, which is not exactly fun. This afternoon, the driver calls me 25 minutes before my pickup saying that we're waiting for me. It's like, well, I'm sorry. I requested a certain time. I cannot leave work early simply because you're here. So I have to wait for another half an hour before another driver came to pick me up. Unfortunately, that's the issue when it comes to a share ride service for the disabled, which technically I am, even though my disability is a temporary one. Okay. Now, the next thing, and that's the final thing which I would talk about is, of course, oh, sorry, two more things. I have an appointment to see a cardiologist in June. This is just beginning the process for me to have my revised knee replacement. And the reason why I'm blogging it here is to form of encouragement for other people who may be going through similar situations, that at least they know that, first of all, they're not alone, and yet they can overcome the stress involved preparing for a major procedure. Okay. But in that case, again, as far as my other channel, I will be discussing issues as it pertains to Latinos born and raised in the United States. Hopefully, Don Amanda, you can chime in to give your point of view. I would definitely want to hear from the introvert Boricua, even though he's native from, even though he was born and raised in Puerto Rico, the fact of the matter is, of course, being living in the United States, there are unique challenges that others like himself have to deal with. So, with that being said, we're going to go to the main topic. So, as I stated, the main topic, what we had learned from COVID-19. Okay. Um, the last time the world was in a worldwide pandemic was 100 years ago after World War II, where millions of people died from the so-called Spanish flu. So what I'm going to give you tonight is basically what I have learned and developed dealing with the crisis. Of course, all of you can share how you adapted to a world post COVID-19. Now, I just want to let everybody know that the link to join the panel has been pinned. So anyone who wishes to opine and expresses a point of view, they're more than welcome to join the panel. Again, let me make this perfectly clear that if I have never seen you before and wish to join the panel, I will insist that you come up in the backstage to make sure that you do not flash anything inappropriate, which would cause the people of YouTube to take down the stream. Okay, so the first reality that we had to deal with is virtual meetings. Okay, particularly in 2020 when we didn't have a vaccine and we didn't know as much as we did learn about COVID-19. Uh, of course, we had to take a lot of precautions, like social distancing, which is basically keeping yourself 6 feet distant from other people. You have to learn to wash your hands thoroughly for 20 seconds. By in all fairness, we should have learned that even before COVID-19 made the scene. And of course, unfortunately, we could not gather in large crowds, all as an attempt to reduce the spread of COVID-19. Of course, it was a lonely time, particularly for um, our elderly residing in nursing homes. I mean, they couldn't have visitors for fear of spreading the illness. And it was a stressful situation because I escorted my mom to the ER, and unfortunately, I couldn't stay with her because of for fear of spreading COVID-19. So we learned how to have virtual meetings either through team meeting or through Zoom. Okay, and of course, it was not the same thing. Okay, and of course, the students have to learn via Zoom their lessons, which it was rough because children want to be with other children and hang out and play and socialize, and we can understand that. And also another issue here in New York, we had curfews. Okay, we had to be indoors by a certain time. Uh, Again, all in an attempt to try to spread um, the effects of COVID-19. To be perfectly honest, I never understood why. I mean, to have have a curfew, particularly when it was not a solid curfew, because if you were a municipal employee working at night, of course, you wasn't under the curfew regulations, things of that nature. And then to show support, we will open up our windows and bang on our pots and pans. Good evening. Thank you very much for stopping by. Tonight's topic is what we had learned from COVID-19. So I'm just sharing with everybody what I have learned. And again, another thing, and again, this is something we should have learned from the beginning. We should not have to wait for a pandemic to learn this. Is to practice proper hygiene, meaning washing your hands 20 seconds with soap and water. Okay. So, and of course, they come up with ways to help us remember, like singing the birthday song and things of that nature. Another thing was we had to do our shopping online. Okay. Because, and again, in order to reduce the spread of COVID-19, you know how to do your shopping online, whether it be clothing, whether it be shoes, or even food. Also, we couldn't dine in restaurants. It would have to be we have to get grab and go bags and things of that nature. And a lot of the restaurants had to make changes as far as this, as far as their seating concerned. And not every restaurant was able to adapt. There was a lot of businesses that couldn't adapt, and you know, they went bankrupt. Another issue was, of course, People who work in service industries were not able to work, and they lost their jobs, and some of them had to learn new trades. Interesting point, Urban. Interesting point. Now, another thing that developed as a result of COVID 19 was working remotely, meaning, yeah, we had bad leadership. That is so true. Okay. Starting with, and I know I'm going to get in trouble with those who support Trump, okay, with him denying the fact that there's a disease out there and talking about, oh, well, if you drink bleach, that will eliminate COVID-19. Or if you get sunlight, that'll eliminate COVID-19. Really. So, the scary part is that Donald Trump can be president again. That's scary. But working remotely means that basically you will work at home or you will work at an alternate location, and through a laptop, through access to your workstation, you will do your tasks. Okay. And some people thrive working remotely, others did not. I mean, because they miss the interpersonal relationships and interactions. And of course, unfortunately, there are people that had to work non-remotely during the pandemic. Basically, the people that was working in the prisons, those that worked in the hospitals and things of that nature. The police couldn't work remotely. The firemen couldn't work remotely. Okay, so garbage men couldn't remote remotely. I mean, so and then there were field staff that had to conduct field visits even during the pandemic. And here in New York, our lovely administration did not want us to wear masks to begin with, serving the clientele in the middle of a pandemic. And then basically, yeah, people lost their jobs. Okay? People lost their jobs, people lost their livelihoods, people couldn't pay their bills, they couldn't pay their mortgage and things of that nature. Yeah, it was a very difficult time. Okay. Also, there was an increase in isolation, particularly when it comes to the elderly. Okay. Here in New York, Cuomo, who was our governor, placed a lot of restrictions regarding the elderly, and also there have been some statistical shenanigans to not show the actual number of deaths of the elderly in these nursing homes um, because of neglect or other reasons. So it was a very stressful time. Okay. And another thing we learned was to do telework, having medical appointments via computer. Okay, teledoc, either through the use of a smartphone or with a computer. You have a link, and then the doctor or the health professional will see you, ask you questions and things of that nature. That's another thing because unfortunately, you know, we have to do what we can to reduce the spread of COVID-19. Okay, and to be perfectly honest, again, a lot of people didn't know how to deal with this crisis. I mean, again, so it was a very scary time. Okay. And of course, we had to be aware of our own health, not just our physical health, but our mental health. I mean, The fact of the matter is, people felt isolated, people felt alone, and actually, it was a rough time because of COVID. We had to limit um, the people who went to visit our mother when she was alive, and then unfortunately, her health deteriorated. She entered into a vegetative state, which she was receiving hospice care before she passed away. And when the fact of the matter is, when my mother did pass away, unfortunately, only family were allowed to attend the funeral. So it was a really difficult time, and my mother was truly loved by a lot of people. So, and also another consequence when it comes to um, COVID-19, uh, a huge uptake regarding mental health issues. I mean, because first of all, the people that were alone, people that their only form of companionship was through a computer, whether it be through Zoom or whether it be through video chats or things of that nature. So a lot of people suffered due to the lack of interaction with other people live. So, and of course, all of you that are watching, you can share what some of the things you have learned dealing with COVID-19, how you have to adjust, because it was an adjusting period that we all have to deal with. And of course, we do have to deal with the need for mental health. I mean, you know, and, see a therapist through a computer link. Okay, let's see this. Yeah, okay. But unfortunately, we had no choice. Okay, it was either isolate ourselves or expose ourselves to COVID-19. And of course, there was people that denied that we had a health crisis. Okay, particularly when it comes to the mega ground, talking about, oh, it's something made up, and then another unfortunate byproduct of COVID-19 is that we have Oriental people who held responsible for the health crisis, and there was an uptick in hate crimes against the Chinese. Okay, and a lot of it had to do with ignorance. Okay, and of course the Center for Disease Control kept changing their information as it pertaining to C-19. Uh, let's see. Yeah, I mean, look, actually, it was in 2021 when you saw the explosion as far as YouTube channels and YouTube creators concerned. Um, because the fact of the matter is, we had to keep yourself amused. We had to keep ourselves occupied because we couldn't gather with other people and things of that nature. And then when you have sporting events, basically, they play them in front of empty stadiums because, again, trying to reduce the spread of COVID-19. And unfortunately, another problem with this health crisis is that you had people trying to delete themselves because they couldn't they couldn't deal with with the mental issues. Yeah, I mean, look, let me just give. Okay, let me just give you like a brief rundown. Okay, first of all, they told us not to wear masks because the doctors and the health staff needed the mask for to perform their work. Then they told us, okay, we needed a mask. Then they told us that we needed to wear two masks. Okay, a surgical mask and a non-surgical mask and things of that nature. And then we have to wear gloves. And then later on, they told us, well, if you got vaccinated, you didn't have to wear a mask. And then they told us, well, even if you got vaccinated, you have to wear a mask, okay, and things of that nature. And also, you know, the number of days that you have to undergo quarantine change. Now I think you don't have to quarantine. I really don't know. And little did I know, I was exposed to COVID-19, and I didn't know about it until like October of 2020 when I had a physical, and they examined me and they found that I had anti COVID-19 antibodies, meaning that I had been exposed to COVID-19. And the president of my local, got infected and almost died. Uh, yeah, rest in peace to O.J. Simpson. Um, so you don't know, he passed away at age, I think, 76. Well, I don't want to dwell too much about it. Okay. Well, you know what, Irby, you were the lucky one. Okay. I got it, and I think what happened was I got it attending a fundraiser, which was just at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. So there was definitely an increase of mental need for mental health. And of course, one of the problems when it comes to mental health is being able to acknowledge that you need help. Okay. It's very hard for people to come forward and say they need help when they're struggling with some sort of mental disease. It's even worse when you are a male. Okay. Because we are supposed to be stoic, we're supposed to be tough and things of that nature, and heaven forbid if a man crying. Okay. Um, Another unfortunate byproduct of the COVID-19 pandemic was the uptick in domestic violence. And the reason why that happened is, of course, when you and your spouse and your significant other were cooped up in an apartment all day and you couldn't go outside, and things of that nature. And some people don't know how to handle stress very well. So some people went to the bottle, some people went to drugs, some people abused the domestic the partners and things of that nature. And of course, another byproduct is the uptake in loneliness. Okay, and actually, Christmas of 2020 was a very sad and bittersweet time because normally I would spend Christmas Eve with my mom. Okay. Unfortunately, with my mother passing away, this was the first Christmas without my mom. This was the first Christmas without my eldest sister. So for a while, I spent Christmas Eve alone. And not, and other people have to deal with loneliness. Okay, it's particularly the elderly. I mean, I think the elderly suffer from loneliness even more because a lot of their friends, a lot of their loved ones, people that they know they grew up with, have gone to their final reward. So at times, they feel very lonely and they feel very sad. And unfortunately, we couldn't visit them again to try to uh, reduce the spread of COVID-19. So, and another byproduct is that there was a lot of fields where in the service industry they couldn't work. Okay, yeah, well, okay, listen, yeah, well, okay, yeah, and all this in an attempt to try to make himself better because I think he was thinking about running for president of the United States. Um, maybe I mean I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that. He liked to make himself as a great governor. He was not all that great. Okay. I also learned a lot of habits as a result of COVID-19. Okay. One of them is, of course, doing my food shopping online. Okay. Going to websites, and as far as Fresh Direct and things of that nature, ordering groceries online. Also, using debit cards to pay for groceries instead of cash. Let's see here. Um, I don't know anything about. I don't know anything about that. Well, people are flawed. Okay. Okay. Now, as far as Mario Como is concerned, uh, there are people that say he was. There are people that say he's not. I know for one thing, he was a great orator, and I know that there were people that wanted Mario Como to run for president in, excuse me, in 1984. Um, I don't know if he would have defeated Ronald Reagan. I think it would have been a more closer election because if anyone recall the 1984 election, um, Walter Mondale gained only 13 electoral votes, which was the state. He barely won his state of Minnesota and the District of Columbia, and then Reagan won 525 electoral votes. So basically, it was a complete landslide. And huge shout out to the 8 people viewing this stream as we speak. For those who are just coming in, the topic for tonight is what we learned from COVID-19. I don't know. I mean, look, the fact of the matter is, no one thought that that Catholic named Kennedy would be president. No one thought. Excuse me. No one thought that a melanated person like Barack Obama, who was really a mulatto, would become president. So we don't know. What I do know is that if an Italian ever does run for president, I mean, he or she will be under a great deal of scrutiny because, unfortunately, they will talk about the negative stereotypes when it comes to Italians, particularly when it has to do with the mafia and things of that nature. Okay. Uh, I think we will see Netanya in the White House. What we live to see him, I don't know. Only time will tell. Now, of course, with the fact that people were losing their jobs, they had to adapt and find other fields. What a lot of people started to do is work remotely full time. Okay, and of course, it brings up its own challenges of working remotely, particularly when you have a family, because you have your spouse there, you have your children there, and some children being what they are, they'll make a lot of noise and things of that nature. And look, I've had so many virtual meetings where people forgot to mute themselves when the TV is on, mute themselves when the radio is on, mute themselves when kids are yelling and screaming and things of that nature. And not everyone has the temperament to work remotely from home. Oops, excuse me. Okay. So, and also depending what type of skills that you have. I mean, he was into sales, you know, if you have a trade, he had like a particular education, whatever, you were able to work remotely. Okay. And of course, another result was the changes in technology. Okay. I mean, the increased use of video calls, Zoom meetings, team meetings, things of that nature, um, that went up a huge amount during the health crisis. I know we had okay at my job. I mean, we will have virtual meetings, virtual training, and sometimes that could be a problem because you don't have the person right there who can assist you with technology, things of that nature. I remember one time doing a legal consultation. Um, I had an attorney that was not very tech savvy. So I was trying to assist the attorney um, with his equipment, and he got upset and he said, F you to me. Okay. Not exactly appropriate conduct for an attorney, particularly when this client is trying to assist him because the attorney was not tech savvy. Um, Also, another thing that gone up was the use of social media. Okay, whether it be using TikTok, whether it be using Facebook, whether it be using YouTube. Now we have Rumble, TikTok. I mean, we have like multiple um, forms of social media. Okay. You know what? I don't know. Okay, I don't know how old the attorney was, but the crazy part, I was older than he was, which is pretty doggone embarrassing. Okay, look, it's one thing. Look, it's one thing with for people of my generation if we're not all that tech savvy because basically it takes us a while to learn how to do things. I know it took me a while to 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 function in StreamYard. Yeah. Um, yeah. I don't know how old the attorney was, but the attorney was younger than me, and And I'm sure. Okay, look, I'm sure there were videos how to conduct yourself in a virtual meeting. I mean, look, the crazy part is, um, whatever it is you want to learn how to do, basically you can go to YouTube and watch a video, and you can learn how to do it, whatever it is, whether it be do StreamYard, whether it be pinning the link, what have you. So, I mean, because let's face it, everyone is born doing how to do this. Okay, and I have to learn regarding how to conduct a channel, what to do, what not to do. Okay, and of course we have to learn how to use computers. I mean, we use computers for everything. We use computers um, to buy groceries, buy items. We even have like, how can I say it? Like digital sex, and let's keep it real. We have people who watch nonstop porn, okay, because uh, they couldn't, they don't feel comfortable getting a lady, so they feel comfortable watching people do the nasty, okay, which is it's all fake, it's all imaginary because really, how many people that can actually perform like porn stars, okay, but that's a not into too much. So basically, I mean, there were other things that I have to learn. Okay, and of course, you have to learn how to not open up certain links because they can expose your computer to spamware and malware and and things of that nature. So okay, so my question to the audience: what some of the things that you had to do to adapt during the COVID-19 pandemic slash epidemic slash health crisis slash whatever it is now? Okay, coin. To be politically correct, point coin. That sounds kind of corny, but okay. But and the crazy part, people think that this health crisis is over. No, it is not over. I mean, and look, not many people are. Yep, we have to learn how to cook. Okay, and also we have to like understand that the world that we knew prior to COVID-19 is never going to come back. We're going to have to get used to a lot of things. One thing we're going to have to get used to is getting these booster shots every year. I mean, I have, at this point, I have lost track as how many booster shots I got. I think I got my third booster or fourth booster or whatever. And every time it's like, oh, guess what? It's time for another booster. It's like, really? And we don't know. No one really knows what's the long-term effects regarding this vaccine. And I remember in the beginning of this pandemic, health crisis, or whatever you want to call it today. Okay, this has been my philosophy when it comes to COVID-19. If you are really concerned, go to your primary care physician. You share with that person your concern. You share the concern with your symptoms. The doctor will in turn will give you his or her evaluation, and then you decide what to do. You decide whether or not you want to be vaccinated. Okay, If you choose not to get vaccinated, that's whatever you do what you can to reduce your exposure to COVID-19, meaning you wash your hands every 20 or 20 seconds. Okay. And another thing, if you don't feel well, do not try to go to work. Yeah, that's true. Because when you're dealing with an industry that requires an audience um, to see movies and you couldn't show movies, there were theaters that went out of business. And yeah, and clubs, of course, you couldn't go to any clubs and things like that nature. I was never into clubbing to begin with. The whole idea of going to a club and having a few drinks and then next thing you have people acting stupid. Okay. I have never been into the club scene, thank goodness. Okay, so I really didn't know what's happened at this stage of my life. I really don't want to get into a nightclub, whatever. Particularly if I'm there by myself. If I am gonna go, I'll have to be with other people. But that is just me. Okay. And of course, going back to working remotely, um, there were days where we would turn and come into work, and of course, when you're coming to work, you have to like wear a mask or two masks, things of that nature. Uh, you have to wear gloves. And then when you get inside, make sure you wash your hands for 20 seconds. Then you have to sanitize your workstation, sanitize your phone, sanitize your computer, use Lysol and all that sort of thing, which is which can be tedious at times. And of course, you couldn't attend church services because everything had to be virtual because of why? So not to spread the disease. And then, well, I had to learn to be a hermit. That's reality. But when they did open up church services, of course, you have social distancing, meaning you have to 6 feet apart. And being Catholic, you could not receive Holy Communion by your mouth. You basically had to allow the priest to put the communion wafer in your hand, and you take your other hand, put it in your mouth, and then soothe it. Before that, sanitize your hands because you don't want to get COVID. I mean, I still have a lot of practices today. When I go to my desk, I will take wipes. I'll sanitize my desktop. I'll sanitize my phone. I will sanitize my computer, and I would use Lysol and spray my area. I do it every day, and I will continue to do so until I guess until I retire. Also, as another consequence, as far as a municipal employee, a lot of people, particularly people that were near retirement age, decided enough's enough, and they put in their paperwork. In fact, they had so many cases of people retiring from municipal government that it took months before people got their first pension check. Yeah, look, that I when it com- when it comes to OnlyFans, what it is, it could be softcore porn. I mean, I don't. Okay, I wouldn't know anything about OnlyFans. I mean, I know people put stuff there. I never watched it. I'll never will watch it. No, no, I'm not judging those that were into OnlyFans. I mean, as you do whatever the fluff you want. Excuse me. And the true fact of the matter is, a lot of the people have made a lot of money from OnlyFans, particularly women when they dress provocatively or when they dress, you know, naked. Yep, that's what it is. That's what it is. Um, like I said, I don't judge people, but I mean, that's not my place. Okay, as long as my thing is, as long as you're not hurting anybody, whatever. So I have been talking for almost an hour. Okay. So my question is, what are some of the things that you had to adjust when it comes to dealing with COVID-19? Okay. You're more than welcome to enter those comments in the chat. You're also welcome to join the panel. If no one joins the panel and no one enters any comments, then I'll start to shut this stream down. Okay. Because I'm not the type of person that will ramble on for 5 or 6 hours. I mean, I still can't get over the fact that I actually had one stream that went for 4 hours and 45 minutes. And the crazy part, that stream has gotten the most views out of all my other streams, and it's all because of the buffoonery that happened on this platform, where people are arguing with each other, people fighting with each other, people calling each other everything but a child of God. Yeah, I mean, look, it was all. I mean, it was all out of necessity. Okay, but I think many of us has proved to be very resilient. Okay, in dealing with this health crisis. Okay, the fact that we're still here, that we still have our mental faculties together, that's a major testimony to the ability to adapt. To adapt. Okay, looking back, I can say it was kind of fun, but not being in the middle of it. I mean, but look, the fact of the matter, look, this is the problem, and I'm not okay. I'm gonna speak in general terms because you got to be careful nowadays because people will take things out of context. But when you're dealing with people who are very passionate regarding what they believe, what they feel, it's going to come across a certain way. Okay. And I think that's what happened during that stream is that we have people, all of them who are my friends, um, had strong and strong passionate beliefs. Yep. I mean, look, the fact that as long as you have simps paying money to see images of scantily clad women, I mean, but then again, they're the independent boss chicks, but yet they need men to pay for all bills. Make that make sense, folks. Make that make sense. But it was a learning experience. Now I know what to allow and what to allow. Okay. Contrary to what some people think, this is not a channel for um, to go crazy. This is not a channel that goes ratchet. This is meant to be a serious channel to have serious discussion. Okay, and it's not an echo chamber either. People are allowed to express their views, and if we disagree, fine, let's discuss it. So, yeah, but the fact of the matter is, as long as you have guy act like simps, you're gonna have these ladies in OnlyFans making money off of these simps. Okay, I have never seen an OnlyFans account, and to be perfectly honest, I don't have any interest in seeing it. Okay, it's kind of like watching porn. Okay, so with that being said, there is one topic I'm thinking about doing for next week, and that is the soft boy era. Okay, now I am not that versed when it comes to that, but lately there have been okay. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just going through my emails. Oh, okay. So, but what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna Google um, soft boy era. Okay, this is what it means. As the name suggests, soft boys are male identifying individuals that play tender traits and how they act and how they dress. Their activities. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna do some research on my own. Also gonna look some videos regarding that, and then, oops. But if I do decide to discuss the topic, I will reach out to I will reach out to certain people, and of course, everyone is more than welcome to opine. But I will reach out to certain individuals to get their perspective when it comes to that topic. So it seems like it's another quiet night, which is perfectly fine. Maybe more people will catch it on the playback. But I just wanted to do a stream regarding how people what they've learned uh, from the pandemic. Okay, I don't know who Fatty is. Okay, but let's neither here nor there. Okay, yeah, I know. Okay, well, you know what? Maybe okay. You know what? I think for next week, um, I would do. Hmm, I might just do three streams because okay, it's gonna be hard to be doing three streams on this platform and another one on the other platform. So I'll just have to wait and see. I might do Sunday, Monday, then Wednesday and Friday. Oh yeah, maybe. Well, we'll see. We'll see. But But in any case, I do appreciate all those who have supported this channel. I know I've said it quite a bit, but I will continue to do so because the reason why I have the success I have is because of people like you who chime in, who watch me week after week after week. You could have watched anybody else, but you chose to watch this channel, and I am forever grateful for that. So I'm just going to begin to sum it up by saying that all of us went through a great deal with the COVID-19 pandemic. There have been some sad consequences. There have been people that have been unalive, some due to the results of COVID-19, others self-deleting because they could not cope with the type of environment that they've gone through. Also, millions of people that lost their livelihoods. Also, businesses no longer existing because they were not able to uh, adjust, so to speak. And also the amount of loneliness, depression, and the increase of mental health issues. Yeah, that you know what? That is sad. We can take consolation in the fact that the people who we love dearly, who passed away, okay, um, due to COVID-19 and other health issues, that that they live in our hearts. Okay, and as long as we have fond memories of those dear people, they'll forever, they'll forever live in our hearts, and we just look at them as our guardian angels. Okay. So with that being said, I will wrap this up. Okay. Of course, all of you are more than welcome to enter your comments after the stream is over. Try to keep it positive because if not, they're going to be deleted. Either big thanks to YouTube or I'll do it myself. And and I always believe if you don't got something positive to say about somebody, you don't say anything at all. Logical. Unfortunately, not everyone uses common sense. That's why this channel is called Uncommon Sense. This is a final reminder. I will be live on my other platform, Latina Diaspora, at 8:15 p.m., where I'm going to be talking about the identity crisis regarding what us Latinos born and living in the United States have to do, and how do we see ourselves, and how people perceive who we are. So, with that being said, I'm going to close by saying what I always say. We must minimize our content with the mentally and intellectually challenged, because if we fail to do so, we will be infected by their stupidity and mass insanity. This has been another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron saying, have a blessed night, take care, be the best version of yourself, and peace.